So a lot of what the work that I do has been informed by one Tibetan, specifically with Vajrayana Buddhism, and also I'm trained in neurolinguistic programming. Everybody is creative, okay, and that we all desire to be creative. It's both the basis of who we are, but this thing that we want to activate. What I do is simply look for what's the prevailing obstacle in a person's life that is preventing that from happening. In neurolinguistic programming language, it often comes down to a feeling of being helpless, hopeless, or worthless. Okay, that there's some limiting belief within their head that is preventing them, again, to seeing the brilliance and the miraculousness of their own existence. Then the other aspect is kind of looking at just what's happened in your life. Often has to do with their family, right? We all have these parents who have loved us in different ways, right? And none of us are perfect. And as little kids, we're affected by that. So one, it's just identifying that thing that's keeping them blocked. And it usually happens way in the past, but you can unlock it really quickly. And then second, once that's in place, then it's about establishing new empowering beliefs as well as a sense of ultimate purpose and ultimate mission. And once those guiding lights are in there, then with all the distractions of the world that go on today, that we have, in the form of emails and texts, just all the things that are out there, just the onslaught of media, by having a sense of purpose, a mission, and an ultimate vision, the direction where we're going, suddenly we are more honed and we are more attuned to where we are going, and therefore our life starts becoming a dialogue, a creative dialogue with the world around us. And I think that's an important aspect of what it means to be a creator. Especially in the United States, the Western world, and the information age, one, we think if we have more information, we're going to be better off. And two, if we're doing more, we're going to be more successful. Well, that doing aspect is a really important part of the creative process, but the other part is the passive aspect, which really allows for the experience of creative insight, right? Think of that time in Crested Butte. I had this sort of, I was in a traumatized state when I was up there. I had a concussion of some sort, and yet I'm getting a very important message about my life. That theme plays throughout people's lives. We can think of, for example, Joseph Strauss, who is the chief designer and engineer of the Golden Gate Bridge. He had a trauma, and when he was 19 years old, that kind of planted in his seed the idea of, in his mind, the idea of being a bridge builder in the first place. He wasn't on that track before, but thank goodness for us in the Bay Area, it's like, wow, I look over that thing, I'm like, that is an amazing structure. And it's even more amazing that it was started in one person's trauma, right? So much of that is true.
I'd like to know right now, for people that are watching, if there was one message that you had for them to hear about creativity in their lives, what would you say?
Wow, that's interesting. So probably the most important thing goes back to something that I just said, okay? I titled my book The Shoreline of Wonder, and it came from a quote from a Methodist minister who basically said, "The larger the island of knowledge, the longer the shoreline of wonder." I think the thing that prevents us in the modern age, in the information age, from experiencing our lives as creative is we get enraptured with information, with conceptual information at the expense of raw experience. And so the most important things that we can do, I believe, to cultivate our own capacities as creators is to intentionally and regularly schedule breaks, right? So for example, when I'm working on things, I love block time. I set 49-minute time periods because the number 49 is the time between one lifetime and the next, 49 days in the bardo, according to Tibetan Buddhism. So it's a sacred number for me. But after 49 minutes of working, my alarm goes off, and often I'll do 10 push-ups, some sit-ups, I'll go walk around. I'll do something that's very different from me just being plugged in, okay? And then you can scale that out to different levels. Actually taking a weekend and enjoying that weekend. Every month or so, taking a couple days or some sort of a mini retreat where you can reflect on your life, where You can celebrate all the things that you've done, but also recognize, hey, here's where I want to go. So that sort of working hard, but then having intentional retreats, to me, that in and of itself, that real intentional scheduling is something that can help a person immensely, not only with creativity, but with their own sanity and their health, right?
I think I should try doing that too.
Well, believe me, I should try it too. Believe me, we get crazy sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So we all have to remember this and remind ourselves of doing that too. But I know when I take my regular breaks, I'm so much happier, and I have I'm more insightful and more in a flow state when I'm working. Unless if I try to push through, which I tried to do that in architecture school, and I felt way out of balance after that. So I've had to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
Believe me.
Yeah.